Good afternoon, everybody. I think this is the third time we've attempted to start the show today. Having some problems between YouTube and Wirecasts being in agreement that we're actually streaming. Thank you, Todd Lowe, for helping us figure this out. I believe we are now streaming. As soon as I hear back from Todd, knowing that everybody can hear my loud, obnoxious voice, we will continue. Guessing that will happen in about 15 seconds. In the meantime, I will move on with sponsors, assuming you can all hear me now. This is the Office Hours Wednesday edition, and our first sponsor is Wirecast. It's a piece of complicated software that does amazing things when you take a Hangout, put it through Wirecast, and then broadcast it out through YouTube live stream. That's what we do. Thank you, Wirecast.
They can't hear us.
They what?
They can't. It's running. It's running. Just so that you know.
Thank you.
Like you don't say anything stupid.
Like complaining and bitching about Wirecast and YouTube not working together while I'm live? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, the truth is it has nothing to do with Wirecast. For some reason, this was all YouTube today. All right. Hang 3 Productions. That's me and Alex and Simon and a couple other people that have got together to figure out how to do this. And we have the gear. We have cash infusions. We have all sorts of things ready to go. What we need is business owners willing to try it. So come talk to us. We'd like to talk to you about produced Hangouts, what we're doing here at SEOWiSE, Hang 3 Productions. It's a whole new world out there for business owners in video. We'd like to thank Todd Lowe for being our first SEOWiSE patron. Thanks to Todd's initiative and his help with a number of things that I can't even list. We don't even have time for all of them. We are moving into nonprofit status, and hopefully we will be able to do a lot more for a lot more people. And that is what it's all about for Alex and I. And finally, Google. People can complain about Google and how large they are, how crazy they are, how scary. They can even complain about the fact that for some reason I loaded Google with a lower third. I don't know why that shows up, Alex. I don't know. Anyway, we love Google and their services because mostly they're free and we all input into their service. The goal is a feedback loop, and we have it. Without Google and their array of services, we wouldn't be doing this today. We wouldn't be able to have the conversation with you. Thank you, Google. All right, Alex. It's you and me, finally, talking, hearing each other. How are you today?
I'm good. I mean, I'm a glass half full kind of gal, so I just think this is hilarious. But I'm not the one dealing with the actual technology, so it's not that frustrating for me. Owen Ellis, aka Todd. Sorry, Todd, if you didn't want people to know that.
Yeah, make sure Todd actually wants. Well, it's too late now.
Yeah.
Pick a new pseudonym, Todd.
Because we have millions of viewers out there.
Not the point.
He says, John Ellis never says anything stupid, and yes, YouTube is blank.
Did you see my little push? What was it yesterday about the error loading people?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. The X out or the partier in me saw that and went, people are having a problem getting loaded. That's just sad. I had to read it that way. Anyway, let's move into the Leap Motion contest, eh?
For the third time.
Yes, for the third or possibly fourth time. Okay, what we're talking about here is this device. And here's a nice little piece of cover art I made for it. It's the Leap Motion giveaway. What you must do to get your hands on this free device. Here's what we're going to do, everybody. I purchased a Leap Motion about a year ago. What is it? Well, Google it. It's really, really cool. Leap Motion is I keep saying hands-free. I feel like I've said this 1,000 times now, Alex. Leap Motion, because I've done this I don't know how many times. Here's the product. Right. Leap Motion. This is a really cool device. What they did, though, was pre-sold me on it. I got it and then found out it had a really steep learning curve. I don't have the time to figure this device out. This is like Iron Man stuff. 3D modeling, controlling your computer with hands motion in the air, playing games, flying planes. Go watch their video. It'll blow you away. It's why I pre-ordered it. I didn't get it for 8 months. $80. Not a big deal. But I paid $80 for a device I don't have time to use. What I want is somebody to show me how cool it is. I want somebody to take the time to do something with it for a purpose. All right? I don't want to see bacon on it. I don't want to see how you can manipulate bacon in 3D virtually. What I want you to do is show me something interesting with it that can be used to educate, to teach, to bring usefulness to the rest of the web through this device. Okay? So here's what you got to do. You need to be a student or an educator, somebody that's not just trying to make a buck with it or get a free piece of tech. You need to join our community. You need to tell us why you want it, and you need to tell us what you do with it. Initial thoughts. I'm not looking for a 10-page thesis on this. Tell me what kind of passion you have for tech like this, why you would mind having it to mess around. And when you're ready, you're going to show us what you've done with it. I expect weekly reports. No, honestly. The truth is, I just want to hand this to somebody who can benefit from it. A student, a teacher, an educator. Hey, Annabelle Howard, you out there? We're talking to you. If you know of anybody, or you, do you want this? Please, just anybody who wants this, we'll send it to you. And you guys mess with it, and then we want to bring you on the show and have you show us what you did. That's all. I'm having fun, Alex, because I'm looking at myself in the Wirecast, and I keep going the wrong way with the goddamn box in a picture, because that's one thing that I think newscasters have to figure out right away is how to move things the right way. I think that's why they mirror it in Hangouts. I always point the wrong direction. This way. Yeah. All right. Anyway, Leap Motion Contest. Somebody please respond. Okay, well you might. I was going to say, you know what I smoke, and if I took a break to smoke that, I'd forget there was a show. So let's move on, everybody. This has just been,
A great day.
I want to know right now if Mercury just went into retrograde. Yes, I actually believe in that shit, and it's got to be a Mercury retrograde day. Just has to be. Moving past Leap Motion, which I hope everybody heard that. Educators, anyone. It's open to anyone. Student, educator, just do something better with it than me, which is, it's been sitting here. This thing has been sitting in my office. There we go. There, right there. Sitting in my office for months doing nothing. Take it. Do something with it. Teach us. Okay. Shout-outs. We haven't even finished shout-outs, people. That's how far behind we are today.
Yeah, not our fault though.
No,
yet.
No, not totally not our fault. So I would like to shout out to and thank both Michael Mason and David F. Leopold for joining us last Friday. It was very interesting to learn what they're doing with hosted Hangouts. And Alex, I'm going to forget the other service, which I liked even better.
What?
Plus Your Reach. That's right. Plus Your Reach. I don't have it up in front of me. These guys have a really cool service going on. Take a look at Plus Your Reach. Take a look at Hosted Hangouts. What they're offering are services to help business owners get involved at the base level with Hangouts, with Hangout production, and a great way to look at stats and engagement from individual shows without diving into the mess of analytics. This is good stuff. If you're looking for if you want to dip your toes into the Hangout on Air water as a business, get in touch with these guys. I like what they're offering. I like what they're doing. It was really great having them both on the show. Thank you, David. Thank you, Michael. And our last thank you, Alex. I don't know what happened with the shutdown and restart. Every freaking shot has some weirdness in it. Okay.
That'll be fun to go through.
Yeah, I'm looking at. That's really weird. Okay. So I'm gonna have to correct every shot before we go to this, folks. Here's our next shot. And it's me and Alex and a whole bunch of stuff about Martin. And I'm going to let Alex go off on this because her post just got posted in Plus Your Business, and I just shut up there. Go for it, Alex. Tell everybody about it.
Well, it was really cool. Martin Shervington, if you don't know him, get to know him because he's awesome. He contacted us a while ago to figure out what we're doing, and he offered us the opportunity to write a blog post for Plus Your Business to kind of introduce everybody, because he has a few more followers than we do. Help us introduce everybody to what we're doing with Hangouts. So it was really awesome. He's so trusting. He just yeah, here's your logins for the back end. Just put your post up there. And then he just kind of lets you do your thing, and he posts it. And it was a great opportunity. We got really, really great feedback from everybody that read the post and saw it. So looking forward to doing another post for Martin and Plus Your Business in the future. And I don't want to reveal anything because I really can't, because I don't know much, but Martin's got some big plans for Plus Your Business, and I'm really looking forward to where he's going with that.
Yeah, have you guys talked any more with him about that stuff? I know that you and Martin share. You're more active in the community than I am, so.
No, not yet. I just know that he Plus Your Business, community, and tribes. That's what I've got so far. Connecting the dots on my own, it looks like a pretty big deal, especially when you see the people that he has in Plus as a part of Plus Your Business, like your favorite man, Mark Traphagen, Ron Hester, I know
good guy. Yeah.
Dustin Stout is a part of it. So he has a lot of influencers that are a part of Plus Your Business and that offer services through Plus Your Business. So when you connect the dots, it's kind of he's got big plans.
I love it. I was just was honored that he asked you to post, right? He asked SEOWiSE, basically means you, to put a post in there. That's just awesome. What that says is congratulations on the work you've done, because that's leading a brand. And so thank you, Alex. Just want to share that with everybody. Yes, I don't know. I'm just tickled about that. Thank you, Martin, for the opportunity. And what we're talking about here is a post that Alex wrote about what we're doing, produced Hangouts. And it's there in the community, and you'll see more from us on that as we do more and grow this year with our equipment and our shows and everything that's going on. And I know you've seen us have a lot of troubles and things in the last several months, and it's all, this is what you got to go through to make it better. You know, making things better was never easy. It takes a shit ton of work and a lot of cussing and a lot of screaming and frustration and partnership and collaboration and all sorts of shit to make something better than it is and to build something awesome. And so that's what we're working on. And we thank everybody who's been involved, and we thank Martin for the opportunity to share what we're doing with the awesome community that he's created. So there we go. Plus Your Business. Now we're talking about, this is you, Alex, the Friday edition on Thursday, because we're skipping Glass in the Class. And what we have here is a cover slide with Gina Fidel and the There Is No Them post up there. So if you want to start talking about that, Alex, I'll I'll bring up other shots.
Okay, so we are going to be interviewing Gina Fidel, who I absolutely love and adore, on Thursday rather than Friday. Gina was honest with me and she told me that she couldn't make it on Fridays. It's just not possible. So I love Gina so much that I was like, all right, then we'll do it on Thursday. And I'm on spring break, so it was really good timing. But we'll be talking to her about websites. We're going to talk to her about being a woman in what would be considered a man's world. And we're going to talk to her about this idea of authenticity that has been going around so much. But she, being a web developer, she is in the position where she has to take this abstract idea of authenticity and actually explain it and incorporate it into clients' websites, and she has to get them to understand it and its benefits. So I think she's in a really interesting position and a very unique position, because we can talk about authenticity all we want, but getting the business owner to understand it and accept it is a whole nother ball game, and she is on the front lines of dealing with that. So it should be a really, really interesting hangout with her. I'm really looking forward to it. And it's mostly going to be me talking with Gina. John has promised to sit back and do most of the production. So
let me. I want to explain why. I don't mean this in a cheesy way. Gina says all the things that I say as a web developer, and I don't do a lot of development anymore. That's how I grew into this space, was as a web developer that was really focused on SEO at first, and then as we saw what was happening with semantics and engagement, we shifted our focus to making sure the client understood that outside of the nuts and bolts that have to be done with your website, the most important aspect is that it's balanced, it's holistically built, because your website, as Gina says so wonderfully, cannot survive in isolation. Your website is a part of your engagement. It's a part of who you are, and it needs to be alive and thriving and growing and show activity. I mean, this was the original concept that Google says, build sites with good stuff that users will want to use and share, right? Gina, as a web developer, has embodied that beyond all the other things that web developers do. And believe me, when you first get involved as a developer, you dive into all the functionality and what's the right code base. How should I build this? What should I focus on? And that's how you end up with this crazy array of developers. Some are really good with functions. Some are really good with design. Some are good with SEO. Some are good with other things. But nobody seems to remember that the real point, the goal, is that people go there. So it can function like a badass, but if it's ugly, maybe people won't go there. It can look beautiful, but if it doesn't function, people won't go there. It could be beautiful and function, but if the content sucks and you don't do anything to bring people to that content, it's useless. And Gina gets that. I tried to explain it in that way to business owners years ago, and they looked at me like I was a complete nutcase. Today, I'm backed by other people like Gina and the semantic web. So I am really excited about hearing Gina tell the same story in her words. And that's why I'm not going to say a damn thing. I'm going to let the two of them go off and just sit back and smile, because it's really nice to know that there are other developers out there that see the big picture. There you go.
okay, that's the last time that John is going to be talking about this subject.
Seriously.
Gina is going to be the one talking on Thursday. And it's a special for another reason, because this is the first time that Gina will be on air. So I ask all of you out there for, if not for us, I mean, we love your feedback. We haven't been getting a lot of it. We'd really like it. But
more
for Gina, not even for us, any sort of encouragement and any sort of conversation that you can bring, I think will really help her feel a bit more comfortable with the concept of being on air, because she was honest with me. She was like, I'm a little bit hesitant to actually enter this world, and I told her that we would be a fun way to get into it. So please don't screw me, please.
Nice. Is that how you did you just make a plea to the audience to please not screw you?
I did, and that would be a great GIF with audio. Uh,
Yes, I'm not even gonna. I think we need to move on. This is going to be a great show tomorrow. We hope you all join us. What is it? It's 1 p.m., right? So,
Sure.
1
4
p.m.
p.m. EST.
Yes.
That's all I know.
So here's the question: was I supposed to set it like the 2 p.m. show on Friday, or should we just do it 1 p.m.?
What?
Fridays is usually, or no, I'm sorry, that's today. See, I'm confused. Yes,
Yeah.
1 p.m. Never mind. Ignore me, people. Just ignore me. Ignore me today. Too many things. Mercury in retrograde. Neurons in retrograde. I don't know. Moving on. We're going to go into What's It Meme. This is the new cover slide for What's It Meme. And I basically, what did I put in here? The meaning behind the memes we share. Cats, bacon, Bieber, and more. This is a segment that Alex and I have been wanting to do for a while. And so I'm going to let you stare at that while I find my workflowy and put it in the right place because it disappeared on me. One other thing I didn't pull back after the shutdown, Alex.
Oh, workflowy?
Yeah.
Well, first should be The Sound of Music.
It is.
Great.
It is. I'm so excited about that. So what we're doing with what it memes, What's It Meme, folks, is we are investigating memes, helping you understand what they are. And I've got a few here. These can be animated GIFs, images with text on them. We've got a bunch of different ones. We're going to start with something that showed up the other day. It's this is just awesome. Anybody my age, and I'm 44, anybody that grew up as a kid listening to The Sound of Music, watching that movie when it came out, it was like an annual thing. I don't know how many times a year they did it. I love the original, but this is just awesome. This is a little GIF by Dan D'Entremont, who I horribly mispronounced his name earlier. Here we go. There's no audio, but this is the famous scene where you see the hills are alive with the sound of music. And those are beautiful. According to Michael Eline, my gun friend, those are Mac 10s. Some in iEdition. I can't remember the name. He actually knew the very specific model. But as you can see, we have a watermark here for Dan D'Entremont. It's just beautiful. Her arms are out. The way he's incorporated the Uzis in there, and the fact that they roll out of her hands. I'm sorry, Mac 10s, Mike, not Uzis. This is awesome. Love this. What I would like to hear is somebody to add the audio to it. Let's get her singing in the background and the sound of the machine guns. Anybody interested in trying that? Create it, put it up on YouTube, send it to us. We will mention you and show it. Anything you'd like to add about that beautiful piece of artistry, Alex?
No, I didn't find it as amusing as you did. But I don't know. I have this weird thing about guns, so that's probably it. Which isn't good when you live in Ohio, FYI, because like everybody owns a gun. But yeah, it was just I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, well it's probably a guy thing, but the truth is, I mean, you know how I am with guns. I don't own any. I don't like guns, but that's the sound of music. That's what's her name holding guns. That's Julie Andrews. I mean, no, untouchable space. So for me as a kid, that's just crazy. That's almost like heresy. So anyway, that I thought that was very interesting. The next one is deep and philosophical, and I'm letting you run with it, Alex. So here we go. It's why did the chicken cross the road? Please help us out with this meme.
I don't know if it's that like deep and philosophical, but I thought it was hilarious. So first, I don't know exactly how he says his name. Les Dossie.
Oh, I was gonna go Lee Dossie.
Lee Dossie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Lee.
Les Dossie. Sure.
I don't know. For any of you that like French or something. I don't know. But anyway, so he posts this, and he says that he didn't come up with it. He found it somewhere else, and he posted it in Plus. But he posts all of this. Why did the chicken cross the road? And he posts what would be responses from all of these like famous people. So he's got a bunch of politicians in there, and I was like, yeah, I don't care about the politicians. I personally love the one that he has from Dr. Seuss. Did the chicken cross the road? Did he cross it with a toad? Yes, the chicken crossed the road. Why it crossed, I've not been told. But then there's like Ernest Hemingway, To Die in the Rain Alone, which I think is hilarious. Aristotle, It is the nature of chickens to cross the road. But it was fantastic. I was like, this is so great. So I reshare it. And then this guy, Leland LeCoyer, finds this from me, and he takes the concept and he takes what would be influencers and plus, and he puts their responses. So he puts like David Amerland. That's a great question, since penguin, trust, and transparency have become the currency of commerce. Unquestionably, to move ahead, a chicken must put her best foot forward. It's just hilarious. Gideon Rosenblatt, crossing the road is good business. Like, Mark Traphagen, to establish authorship. Like, I was just like, this is just so fantastic to see this start already is such a great thing. And this guy has this genius idea of like, let's do it with influencers and plus. Yep. I thought it was great. I thought it was hilarious.
You nailed it. It's taking a content idea and doing something cool with it, expanding beyond it, right? And what I love about this is, why did the chicken cross the road could be considered the original offline meme, right? It's like that has been exemplified, redone, talked about, used in so many different ways with so many different quotes. And here we see it brought to the web. We see it morphed into something different. And then we see somebody taking that and applying another morph. It's almost like the evolution of a meme, right? And we see the natural selection, or I suppose it's the artificial selection. Can you tell I watched Cosmos a lot last night? I'm really behind in the Cosmos shows. Anyway, this is what's awesome about this. This is creative content. And
yeah, absolutely. Well, and then we have our breaking news of the day.
Yeah, here we go. Get the breaking news shot.
Which is I found it from Dan McDermott. It's, okay, someone clarified that is a rooster, but still hilarious. It's like, happening now, action, live on location. And it's a rooster on a road, and someone on Dan's reshare, do we have a chicken to English translator on scene who can ask the hard-hitting question, why? It's just so great. I just love seeing things evolve like this, and just seeing people, the creativity that people bring just to bring laughter to our lives. They have he's not going to get any sort of actual, I don't know, he's not going to get paid for his comment, but I think it's hilarious, and it gave me a laugh for the day.
Me too. I that's what I think is awesome about social media in general, about, I hate calling it social media anymore, about our ability to communicate in real time, our ability to generate new content in real time. This is a living, breathing, ongoing discussion, and it may be ridiculous in the nature or the focus of the conversation, but you better believe that this is doing all sorts of things for these individuals, growing their authority, maybe not in their individual keyword space, but in their relationships with each other. This is huge in the sense of how we grow our businesses and relationships with each other. You don't have to produce 100% beautiful, academia great content. You can take something fun and interesting and use that to grow connection, And yeah. I think that's what blew me away about this. So what else do you want to say about it? Anything? We done?
No, I think we're done. Let's move on to memes that need to die.
Yeah, this. All right, everybody. I figure it's about time we started introducing some memes that we didn't really want to exist anymore. And this is one of them. Brace yourselves. Brace yourselves isn't funny anymore. I'm so tired of seeing brace yourselves. I don't want another brace yourselves meme. All right. The original brace yourselves meme was kind of funny. All right. Actually, it wasn't. The original brace yourselves meme was just brace yourselves. Winter is coming. It's what they said on Game of Thrones. That right there, my friends, is what everything started from. That. Brace yourselves. Winter is coming. Thank you, Ned. it's time to put this to rest. Let's chop the head off the brace yourselves. Let's hang it on a pole, and let's move on to other memes. I'm so tired of hearing this. Alex, do you want to rant on it yourself personally for a bit?
I have no personal vendetta against it. Memes that I don't find funny, I just gloss over. But I mean, there is something to be like the chicken crossing the road thing was so funny for me because it's so original. And that's the thing about the brace yourselves. Like some of these memes, they've been going around so much that like there are very, very, very few instances in which it's gonna whatever you have to say on it is gonna be original. So just
Yes. Yes.
if you're gonna use the brace yourselves meme, please think, am I being original or am I being annoying?
Oh, don't even go down that road because we can get into content marketing and say, but annoying works. So, look, I agree with you 100%. Don't use this anymore. There are other memes. Find something new. Watch another damn show. Watch more TV. That's where all these things come from anyway. All right? Maybe that's why.
Watch more TV after you watch our show, of course.
Watch more web broadcasting. Let's put it that way.
There
Web
you
broadcasting. All right. Okay, we're done with the memes. That was our What's It Meme section. If you have a suggestion for What's It Meme, let us know. We're in the process of creating all sorts of forums and fun things for you to engage with us, and hopefully we'll be done with that in the next week. Moving on. The next piece is the Deep Dive in Plus. And I'm talking about this one. This is an interview that Charlie Rose did with Eric Schmidt recently, and Eric had a lot of things to say, and I found a lot of them very interesting and inspiring. I want to talk about some of them with you, and just go through them. The first thing we're going to look at here.
Wait, wasn't it with Larry Page?
Was it Larry? Shit. Is it Larry or Eric?
I think it's Larry Page.
All right, everybody. Well, so the title card says Eric Schmidt. It's not Eric. You're right. It's Larry. My bad.
Okay. I was gonna...
This is Charlie Rose's talk with Larry. The first thing we're going to look at here that you're watching, this is part of the video that they showed during the interview. And what you're seeing here is not just, oh, what the heck happened to my... Oh, Alex, this is one of the best shows ever. My shot is the strangest looking shot. I didn't even have a chance to clear that up. Okay, hang on, everyone.
It's art, guys.
It is art. Let me fix this real quick, everybody. How interesting. This is what happens when your computer shuts down in the middle of trying to run your show.
Happens to the best of us, I'm sure.
I suppose. Okay, let's try this. Now I'm not stuck in a little tiny window there. So what you're watching here may not look all that impressive. Yes, these are early games, probably 1982, 83, I don't remember. I played these games. These were the games I grew up on. This is not kids playing this game. What Larry's talking about here is the fact that these are computers that have learned to play these games and kick ass. Okay? That's what you're watching. We have learning machines, thinking learning machines. Right here, you're watching River Raid. That computer going through and cleaning up, it's a computer going through and cleaning up. All right? Think about that for a second. We have computers that are capable of learning how to play games that used to take us a long time to master. All right? So what's Google working on? They're working on that kind of stuff. Artificial intelligence. It's really, really, really awesome. Hey, look at that, Alex. It's the screenshot that shows Charlie Rose and Larry Page, not Eric Schmidt. The next thing we're going to look at here is Project Loon. What you're going to see here in this shot is the video running, and there's my messed up shot again. I don't know how to fix this, folks. We're just going to look at it this way. I have to go through and fix every one of these shots. What we're looking at here is Project Loon. What I love about this story is that Eric Schmidt, I don't know why I want to keep calling him Eric, is that Larry Page, when he was young, he was in college, said he was sitting at a bus stop, and it was cold and annoying, and he had to wait a long time for the bus. Okay? At that point, he decided he wanted to do something about transportation. One of the big things that I like about Google and people like Larry Page is that they do things. They don't think about them. They don't plan them. They don't wonder what it would be like to make them happen. They just do them, right? And Google does a lot of these kind of things. Project Loon is an example of one of the projects they've started. And I apologize to everybody. I'm seeing that this shot is messed up too. And this is because our Wirecast system had to restart, and then we started the show, and I haven't had a chance to check the shots. Hopefully we'll have new gear here soon, and we'll be able to change this problem. So back to Larry Page. Project Loon is about taking balloons, launching them into the atmosphere so that they can provide internet for places in the world that just can't get internet access. Okay? It's a crazy idea. How did Larry come up with it? I don't know. He, about 30 years ago, saw something that said somebody had put a balloon up in the atmosphere, and it stayed up there for days, gone around the earth many times. And he said, well, shit, why can't we do that with the internet? Okay? That simple. That direct. Why can't we do that? I don't know. The reason Google is able to go after these projects is that their top thought is not, how do I profit from that? Okay? That wasn't Larry Page's idea. It was, how do I make things better? How do I make this better for all of humanity? The profit will come because we built a system that works for all of humanity already. It's the web. Now, Google focuses on making things better for all of us. Project Loon is one of those examples. You, please, somebody name another company out there, another giant company that is spending money on these kinds of projects. Show me that. It doesn't exist. Richard Branson's got cool stuff. Elon Musk, these are all guys that are in that realm of Larry Page and Google, okay? I get that. I don't see any initiatives by Microsoft, okay? I don't see any initiatives by Apple. Right? This is the kind of stuff Google does. Actionable, real stuff that helps and benefits all of mankind. The next thing we're going to talk about is privacy. Hopefully this shot isn't as messed up. Every one of these shots. Alex. See, I have nothing else to say. All right. Privacy. And you were going to talk about this in your communication connection, aren't you, Alex?
Yes, I am going to talk about it.
Okay. That's what I thought.
I mean, Larry Page does mention it, and it's interesting what he says about it. It's interesting that he does mention that they're concerned about privacy, but at the same time, he's worried that we'll be so concerned about privacy that we'll ignore all of the information that we can gather from being open. That's what really, I mean, I watched the whole, well, I didn't really watch it. I listened to the whole interview. And this is the part of the interview that actually really caught my attention personally.
Right. And by the way, the shot's on you because I'm, again, trying to fix another damn shot. All right, we'll be back there. So here's a shot that still works. No, that doesn't work either. Hey, Todd, can you tell I'm really frustrated with what's going on right now? I bet you can. Anybody else that's watching in the live audience? This is what I mean by raw. This Wednesday show is the raw show. You get the mistakes. You get the frustration. You get us. All right. That doesn't mean every show that Alex and I produces is going to be raw like this. And this one today is particularly bloody. All right. This one's nasty and bad. Right? This is a steak, rare, cold, cut from the side of the cow today. All right. That's what you're getting out of me. Sorry, Alex. I know that totally grossed you out. This is a raw piece of tofu. All right. How's that work for you, vegan girl?
I actually eat tofu raw. So.
Well, it was a joke because tofu's not meat. I mean.
I know it's processed.
Yeah.
But a lot of people won't eat it raw. They have to saute it because they don't like the texture, and it doesn't really have a taste. But raw tofu with just some soy sauce on it, pretty good in my opinion.
All right, and we'll talk about tofu another time. There are things. There are things. All right, let's try to get through this damn Eric Schmidt stuff. God, no, we're done. The last thing we're gonna do is listen to what Larry has to say to Charlie. I can't even say the names right. We're just gonna be quiet and listen to this. This is where he's talking about corporations, and he's talking about corporations that are stagnant, corporations that only do incremental change. Right? Google is not about incremental change. Just listen to what Larry has to say. All right? This is the difference between companies that aren't really making things change or happen and what Google does.
Which is a second thing about corporations. You were one of those people who believe that corporations are an agent of change if they are run well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really dismayed. Most people think companies are basically evil. They get a bad rap. And I think that's somewhat correct. I mean, companies are doing the same incremental thing that they did 50 years ago or 20 years ago. That's not really what we need. We need, especially in technology, we need revolutionary change. Yeah. Not incremental change.
You once said, actually, I think I've got this about right, that you might consider, rather than giving your money, if you're leaving it to some cause, just simply giving it to Elon Musk, because you had confidence that he would change the future. And
well,
that you would therefore...
Yeah, if you want to go to the Mars,
yeah.
He wants to go to Mars to back up humanity, that's a worthy goal, but it's a company and it's a philanthropic goal.
And there it was. And since Alex and I actually don't have any way to hear it either nope. At this time with our gear, all I can tell you is that left me smiling. All right. Google is about making big, global, huge change. Because incremental changes over a long period of time in a company don't mean squat in a world that moves at the speed of light. So I'm with Google in that. I think everything that they have to offer humanity, everybody can look at it and say, when is the giant going to awake and slaughter the humanity? Everybody's concerned about Google being this evil giant. Well, it's been 15 years, folks. They have every opportunity to crush us. But we are their product. We are the system. It takes both of us. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. And people that think somebody else is going to come up and create another Google, good luck. Todd, I want to have that debate with you. I know Microsoft's got stuff in the works, and I know you've talked to me about their semantic web. I can't wait to see what it does comparatively. I hope it's better, but I think Google's got a global community going now. That's something you can't replace. Larry Page really gives us a great understanding of kind of where Google is looking, and I think the reason why most of us have a hard time understanding it is because Google thinks on scales beyond the earth. And not many of us are capable of doing that when we're trying to just put food on the table every day. I'm going to leave it at that because I'm still really frustrated over the majority of these slides. Alex, did you want to talk about that at all or just run into skinny dipping or what?
We could just run into skinny dipping because, like I said, the thing that really piqued my interest was the privacy, and I'll be talking a little bit about that in the communication connection because obviously I was listening to it from the communication perspective. So
right.
We'll hold off.
All right. Okay. Well, here we go, everybody. The next segment and final deep segment today is skinny dipping. And Alex is going to talk to us about an interesting article presented by the Huffington Post talking about video games and kids. And she already knows how I feel. And it's interesting, Alex has gone through a process of discovery on this. And I'm going to let her elaborate as soon as I can pull up the right slide. Boom. There you go, Alex. It's all you.
Okay. So I reshared this as SEOWiSE. It was a while ago. The HuffPost really was pushing stuff out about unplugging on March 7th. So quite a while ago, because it was the National Day of Unplugging. And I remember this day when I was younger. I don't know how they do it in most states, but in Hawaii, it's kind of a big day. Like we consider it a day to not use any technology at all. For the entire day, we were supposed to not use cell phones, watch TV, books were allowed, but we were supposed to not use electricity. And I mean, we would do it in school. So when I originally saw this, first of all, I was like, it's talking about kids and technology, and I know how John feels about that, so I had to reshare it. And so I was like, ooh, this is going to piss him off. And second, I was just like, yeah, I'm the kind of person that thinks about the effects of technology on kids and communication, and I'm the kind of person that does believe in unplugging. Do I practice what I preach? Not currently, but I do think that when it comes to kids, it is something that we at least have to think about. I am not a parent, so If you think that I have to be a parent to give solid advice on this, you can stop listening to me in that regard. But as far as the actual article that the HuffPost put out, originally I was like, cool, whatever, you have your reasons. I went through it again for today's show because I was like, I don't want to sound like an idiot. And I have some serious concerns with this article. I want to make it clear I am not pointing fingers at the HuffPost. News sources do this all the time, and any source does this. Any source has a frame of reference. Anything. An article, an academic article, is going to have a frame of reference. It's just, no matter what, you have this bias. I've talked about it before, but the bias in this article really, really upsets me. This is not balanced at all. I mean, they are straightforward, giving you any sort of data that they could find that tells you the negative effects of media. Obviously, anytime a new sort of media comes out, the television, cell phones, Google Glass, it's going to happen. All of these smartwatches, it's going to happen. What's the first question we ask? Well, how's it going to affect our kids? That's the first question that's always asked. And you always have two sides to the argument. The way that they are citing this is really, really concerning. I mean, for some of their stuff, the one that really upset me was when they're talking about aggression and violent media. Their newest source is from 2007. Do they realize how fast technology changes? That is so, I mean, that's old. That's old. Which is weird to say, because we still cite stuff from like the 1980s, but as far as technology, that's old. That's not new. I know of newer research studying aggression and media, and it's the flip side of it. There are studies out there that look at how how violent media isn't having this strong effect. And you have to, there's strong effects and weak effects, and there's two sides. Those are the two sides, and you're either a strong effects person or a weak effects person. And they don't take that into consideration at all. They're not telling me if these are qualitative studies or quantitative studies. They're not telling me if these are just fill out a survey or if they are taking into consideration individual differences, and it's a much smaller population. Population size is going to change the way that these affect the actual outcomes. The different individual differences that they take into consideration are going to affect the outcomes. So when I look at this, it's just really concerning, because if I was reading this as someone that isn't familiar with academia, I would be really concerned. I'd be like, oh my God, these are all academic sources. Look at all of these horrible things that the media is doing to my kids. And it's just one side of the story. There's a whole nother side of literature, specifically communication literature, that says the complete opposite. It says that if a violent person goes home and plays a violent video game, they are actually less likely to be violent because they let out that aggression and that competitive nature in the video game. There's a whole nother side to it, and that's what upsets me about this. You can debate this as much as you want. I'm totally cool with that, but show both sides. Show both sides of the story. I am, again, not pointing the finger at the HuffPost. The news does this in general, but it is something that I wish that people were more conscious of and more aware of.
Nice. And yeah, I see. I didn't say a word.
You didn't.
Do you want to talk about any of these finer points here? The 10 things on the list, or do you find the 10 things to be completely ridiculous at this point?
I just, like, you know, when I look at it, I'm sure the studies that they're citing are real studies. I am assuming and I am hoping that they actually looked at the real studies. They could have easily. There's a lot of they're basically literature reviews, and in the literature reviews they summarize all of these different academic papers. Again, right. Something like a literature review is going to have a certain bias. If I'm trying to talk about aggression and media, everything I cite is going to point towards aggressive media is going to affect aggressive behavior. That's all I'm going to cite. So I'm hoping that they actually looked at the real studies. I mean, the obesity thing. I've read a couple of pieces of literature that do kind of support that. But the other thing is that a lot of the stuff that they cite from health journals, those could be actual causality studies. Anything that they cite about media, anything that they cite in the social sciences, we do not say causality ever.
Huh?
Ever. Because those aren't the kind of studies that we're doing. We are not saying this causes this.
Right.
We're saying that we see these correlations, so this is a possibility.
You used my favorite word.
We never say causality in the social sciences because we are not actual, and as much as we want to be them, we are not actual scientists. We're studying things that are much more abstract than something like obesity rates.
Right, you're studying human behavior. You can't, and I thank you for using the word correlate. And then let's quickly remind everybody how easy it is to correlate shit, right? I mean, we dealt with that a month ago, 2 months ago, where you could say, look here's a correlation, right? You can correlate anything. And yeah, you could certainly say, look, there's a whole bunch of overweight kids sitting on their asses playing video games. My response to that is parenting. You want a cause? I'll go with parents all the time, right? Technology, and I'm going to use gun advocates to help me with this, all right? Guns don't kill people, right? We've heard that 1.5 billion times. Uneducated moron people kill people with guns, right? People without the right training, people without the right parenting kill other people with guns. Okay? Technology is the same way. And I know you and I, Alex, have discussed that too. And I'm glad you read the full story because I am a parent, right? I've had some very specific, you know what we'll talk about this another time, but I've had some very personal experiences with technology and my kids. My 8-year-old stepson Chase started playing World of Warcraft at 8, and yes, we were concerned, but he's also ADHD, lightning brain. He was bored out of his mind with everything else. By 9.5, Chase was typing faster than anybody I'd ever seen. Chase was leading raids and missions and being the leader of a bunch of, who well knows, anywhere from kids his age to 40-year-old adults sitting in their underwear at home playing World of Warcraft. The point is, he learned how to be a leader. He learned how to run groups. He learned how to coordinate and communicate with other people. He learned how to type really fast. Right? He learned more from Warcraft than he probably did from his public school system at the age of 9. Right? And I thank World of Warcraft for teaching him that and wish I had had a game like that to make me learn how to type fast. Right? I think we, like you said, Alex, 2007 studies mean nothing, absolutely nothing in 2014 when tech changes in 6 months. I got to show them this last piece. This is, if everybody can see the chart here, this is the chart that was referenced, and this is what actually caught my eye and made me laugh my ass off. It says no 5-year-old or children 5 and under, whatever, should have a handheld device. God, no. What are they going to do? Shove it in their mouth and choke to death? Okay. My 5-year-old, if I had another 5-year-old, if Chase had been born today, 5 years from now, the first thing I'm going to do is put a tablet in that kid's hands, a cell phone in that kid's hands. I want him familiar and comfortable with using that device. But in 2007, we didn't even have tablets, really. I mean, it was just an emerging market. So, the things that you said back then make no sense. Right? We want our kids playing and using tech. Right? What it takes is a balance between the tech we allow them to use and grow with and the ability to be a parent. Parenting is how we keep kids from making themselves giant and fat. Right? We decide what they eat. We get them to exercise. We get them educated. Parents, not technology. Right? So while I understand that this post, Alex, is about, the correlation between technology and these things, and it's outdated information, the truth is, from a parent's perspective, it's my responsibility. Not technology's, not some corporation's responsibility. Mine. Right? And if I don't manage my child's time with tech, I'm the one who created the problem. That's how I
What
feel.
do you think? And I don't ever voice my opinion on this because again, I'm not a parent, and anytime I've ever tried to voice my opinion about parenting, the first question I get asked is, do you have kids? So I just don't go there anymore. But as someone that is a parent, would you say that is a common viewpoint for parents to have that sense of responsibility when it comes to
No.
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 Okie dokie.
No. Sorry. I don't think parents today even understand. No. You know, the wife and I worked our asses off at being parents because we were given a child who thought really fast. I was one of those kids. I recognized it in Chase, and I said, "Shit, we gotta be on top of this." I mean, this is what it's about, being parents. Not like Alex was any problem, but Alex was a hell of a lot easier child to deal with. Okay, Alex went through school, got good grades, it did great. You know, we had the usual problems with Alex. Chase was a whole different ball of wax. Required a hell of a lot more care, a hell of a lot more handling. He was a supercomputer, out of control, right? And so I'm not knocking parents that don't have means or that don't have time, and I understand that, you know, you're working 2 jobs, whatever, you've got stress, okay? I was working 60 hours a week and going to college full time, and I had 2 kids, okay? So I understand, right? Still our responsibility. No, Alex, to answer your question, I do not think that is the way majority of parents think. I think the majority of parents think exactly the opposite. That technology and our school system were created to parent their child, allowing them to do whatever the fuck they want. I really think that's what parenting has come to. That technology is being used as the replacement for good parenting, which is exactly why studies like this exist. You know?
Yeah. Again, I'm not gonna say my opinions on parenting because
You know,
I'll let you know if I'm a parent. I can tell you my opinions about dog ownership.
here, you know what? There's no difference. Let me say this. There's no difference. All right? No parent, let me try to say this the right way. Every parent walks into the job with this much experience. 0. Okay? Goose egg. Right? The only way you learn is by trying. So the lazy parent doesn't know shit. Right? The parent that uses technology to teach their child and to keep their child company, they don't know shit about parenting. So you have every right to speak because you're a human being. You're not retarded. You can imagine how parenting works, right? Those concepts that you go into as a parent initially are the ones that you start with. That's your foundation. The majority of that foundation comes from the way you were raised. I don't know how many times as a parent in the early years I went, shit, my dad did that. Shit, my mother used to say that to me, right? That's where it comes from. So by default, you say anything you want. I value your opinion because I know what happens when you start raising kids. Everything goes out the window because your child is unique. And you use what you know and what people say as a guideline. All right, everybody says he's supposed to sit here and he's supposed to be shitting now in the toilet, but he's not. Does my child have a problem? I don't know. Is it bad parenting? I don't know. This is where we go with these things, right? You know, he's supposed to know his ABCs. He only knows A and B. Shit, my child's behind. You go through these things all the time, and you'll learn it's all unique because your ecosystem, you, your child, whatever they have, the world you live around you, affects your ability to parent. I value your opinion. You're a woman. I think by default that you talk about kids, okay? You bring them to be.
That's nice.
So,
That's nice. Well, aside from the parent, back to the news sources. Todd asked a really great question that I would like to answer real quick. I know we're running out of time.
Well,
he says traditional and perhaps irresponsible reporting versus crowdsourced. No consideration of ethical sourcing, emphasis on immediacy reporting. Which is more reliable and valuable? That's a really good question, Todd. And my focus isn't even on the source these days. My concern is for the reader. I think that both can be valuable, both can be somewhat reliable as long as the reader is critical. That's my concern. My concern is that we aren't producing critical readers. I I mean, if I had to choose one, I prefer crowdsourced, but I think it's because of the generation that I grew up in. And it's because I consider myself a critical reader. I can look at crowdsourced content and decide what is more factual than something else. But I am concerned that we aren't producing critical readers. So when I look at that question, I'm like, it's not even about the reporting. I think that our concern is with the reader.
That's an interesting way to put that. I want you to go into the communication connection, but I want to ask you this. So this is chicken and egg. I mean,
It is.
You say it's about the readers. Well, we readers need to be upped. That game needs to be upped. Critical thinkers need to be grown. How do we grow them in a system that doesn't foster that? Right? Well, maybe we
Change
start
the
by
system.
reporting. Well, change the system. Change the information we're providing. Right? If you provide better information, less cats and bacon.
But see, then you're at the chicken and the egg again because no one's gonna read something that's boring.
Well, okay, so to use government tactics with media, if that's all they've got, that's all they're gonna want, right?
Yeah, but then you have to make sure that everybody is on the same page. Everybody decides that they're gonna produce factual, straightforward. It doesn't necessarily have to be boring, but most of us would consider it boring since we're so used to being inundated with pictures of puppies and cute babies.
So wait, are you telling me that in order to make that happen, you're suggesting some kind of utopia where news sources were actually ethical and produced the truth? Or attempted to report the truth without spin?
Yep.
I don't see how we're going to make that happen anytime soon. I think that has to start with the reader demanding better.
I think so too. I honestly, I don't think that any of the news sources are going to change until the reader changes. How we change the reader, I don't know.
Well, wait a minute. But what about us? What are we doing here? Aren't we attempting to deliver information?
We are, and are we succeeding?
Well, at delivery,
There's the big
usually
question,
depends on what happens between Wirecast and YouTube and Hangouts on the particular day. But yeah, I think we're succeeding in general. So maybe this is how we go about it. Right? All right, we're gonna head into the communication connection because this show is just, I don't even know how far beyond not on time we are today. So
Super not.
here everybody, you can't hit it yet. There's the slide. That one's not messed up. It's communication connection, even more useful. Alex is going to wrap it up for us today and tell us how all this matters. Here you go, Alex. Right. And go.
Okay, so Larry Page talked about concerns with privacy, and we talked about this idea of unplugging and not letting our kids use technology at a certain age. And I think part of that has to do with this concern for privacy. There is a whole, it's called the privacy management theory. And it is so important in communication that we have an entire interpersonal graduate PhD class devoted to privacy management theory. It's ridiculous. I'm not taking it because I have a media focus and not a privacy focus, but I think it is interesting to connect our concern with this idea of unplugging and not being connected with our technology to our concern for privacy. Why are we so concerned about these two things? How are they interconnected? If we unplug, does that mean that we are protecting our privacy? Are we protecting our privacy by unplugging? It's really interesting. If I don't unplug, am I saying that I don't care about my privacy? Just something to think about. If you want me to expound on privacy management theory, let me know. It's super duper complicated though.
No, you don't have to. Are we? But I will say this. I apologize to everyone because I just now, at the very end of the show, realized that Alex's audio has probably been out of sync by roughly half a second. Totally my fault from the last time Wirecast shut my machine down. When you bring it back up, the audio settings don't save, and that delay is a part of this broadcast. So I apologize to everyone for having that delay, because I really liked what Alex had to say today, and apparently her beautiful words were not in sync with her beautiful face. So,
Well, as long as there's no... I watched I'm not going to say which HOA it was. I watched an HOA where there was an echo for like half the HOA.
oh, we've done that before.
I don't know how I got through it. Like, it was just so annoying. I was like, eventually it'll go away. Eventually it'll go away. Eventually, and it did. It did. Eventually they were like, oh, there's an echo. We should fix that. I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So that's an HOA. Take that and times it by 100, and you deal with what we deal with Wirecast on a regular basis. For Alex and myself, well, I don't even have to speak for you. Alex is right there. I'm in broadcaster
Hi.
mode today. Let's remind everybody about this. The Leap Motion contest. If you actually stayed through the entire show, first of all, I should probably just give you the device by default. But I only have one of them. So, and that would be Todd and maybe Gail, as I saw her shoot a message in there earlier. So we're giving this thing away. It's a Leap Motion. I have it here. You need to join our community and hit Alex and I up and just say this stuff. All right. Tell us whether you're a student or an educator. Join our community. Tell us why you want this device and what you would do with this, and what you would do with it, and then show us when you're ready. That's it. It's a Leap Motion. I want somebody to do something useful with it, so we can bring them on the show. So I'll remind you of that. Tomorrow we have Gina Fidel, and let's put this slide up here really quick. There you go, everybody. We are doing the Friday edition tomorrow on Thursday. It's at 1 p.m. Pacific time, and Alex will be interviewing Gina Fidel. She is a web developer, and we are really, really excited to talk to her about the holistic approach of web development and engagement and all that fun stuff. Alex, am I forgetting anything?
No, stay tuned for stuff with Glass in the Class, because we didn't have class this week. We didn't have it, but I will be doing something a little bit different next week, as well as a Glass in the Class on Thursday with Larry Fernelier.
Yes. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Dang, I knew you were working on somebody. I didn't know who. And we will talk more about Todd's question, crowdsourced versus other media. I think we should just make that a deep dive. Okay.
All right.
So, hey everybody, this is Alex and John and Todd and Zach and everybody else in the SEOWiSE bunch saying thank you for joining us and putting up with the tech issues. I'm hoping that next week you'll see a very different show. We will see you all tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific, for our interview with Gina Fidel on the Friday edition. Thank you all, and have a great afternoon.